Today's conversation is sponsored by First Generation Capital Partners.
If I'm going already like 5 hours away, I can go 15 hours away, 20 hours away. So I'm saying I can invest in Washington State without a problem, which is the furthest state from Florida.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You're listening to the Going Long podcast with Billy Keels, the #1 podcast for long-distance real asset investing.
Welcome to the Going Long podcast. We're back once again to continue to help to educate you so that you feel much more comfortable as well as confident investing beyond your backyard. And yes, I'm your host, Billy Keels. And you know what? We've got an amazing conversation for you today. I cannot wait for you to hear it. I know you're going to get so much out of this, especially if you're interested in finding out about those specific assets that can help you niche down. They can help you help to set you free. They're your freedom formula. This is going to be an amazing conversation for you. So just a couple things really quickly. You know, I like to talk about this and then we'll get into the conversation. So we continue to move up the charts. Thank you so much for downloading, for sharing, for talking about this, and also becoming a better, stronger investor. And also, lots of you are leaving your honest written reviews as well as ratings. If you've not done that yet on the Apple Podcast platform, just take a couple seconds. Would really appreciate it. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you'd like to see differently. And that way we can bring you the most amazing podcast, contour to exactly what you need. Also, too, if you want to check out every single episode, we've got some really cool stuff going on. I can't wait for you to know. But in the meantime, listen, go to billykeels.com. When you get there, go to the podcast tab. You can find every single episode, over 210 episodes or something like that. It's going to be amazing. You can find out everything. You can see the listen to the podcast. You can watch the podcast. Just go check it out. And then also too, today we've got an amazing guest. The amazing guest has come from overseas, been living in the United States for a number of years, and has decided to really niche down, get her systems in place, and also focus on one specific asset. And you're going to love today's conversation with Masha Klapanova, and we're going to get to that just after this. So you know what? If you want to know how this one real asset could be your freedom formula for getting you to your long-distance investing success, then guess what? You're in the right place, and you're going to want to stick around until the very last word of today's conversation. You know why? Because today's guest not only immigrated to the United States early on in her career, in her life, she also started her professional career in the hospitality and event management space. Well, just kind of like me, that sounds very, very interesting. She also realized that this space really was not for her, and she decided that she needed to go back to real estate. Well, I didn't even say she was in real estate, so maybe she'll have to tell us more about that as well. She also then, in real estate, she worked across different spaces in the residential real estate space, like sales and flipping and short-term rentals. And then, you know what? She's even now really enjoyed the commercial real estate space, where she has found her home in the self-storage space, where she is now the owner and operator of Your Freedom Investments. It gives me great pleasure to welcome to today's conversation, Masha Klapanova. Masha, welcome to the show.
Billy, it's so great to be here. And thank you for this awesome introduction.
Hey, well, you're awesome. So you make it very easy. I mean, I'm just telling all the awesome things you did. And I'm only telling just a little bit, because in the pre-conversation, you even told me about some really cool things that I didn't even know, which is absolutely phenomenal. So
I thought we were going to keep it as a secret.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well, I guess you're going to have to tell. As part of your story, but you'll get there in just a couple of seconds. Because as you know, all right, as you know, Masha, everybody's going to get 5 questions. You're going to get 2 in the beginning. You're going to get 3 in the end. And then you're probably going to get a lot more questions, but I just don't know what those other questions are going to be. So I want to jump in because I would like for the entire Going Long family to get a chance to know you as much as possible. And the first thing is, where do you actually live in the U.S.?
I live in the place where people vacay, how they say it here. It's Miami, Florida.
Going to Miami. Okay, very cool. So Miami, Florida, yes, it's a wonderful place, especially in the wintertime, which is nice and warm and sunny and all that kind of good stuff. Which
Coming
is
back from cold Russia definitely feels pretty nice up here.
Yes, I'm sure it does. That's why I love the Mediterranean here in Barcelona. It really feels nice most of the year. Not like Miami, but most of the year. But here's the other thing. What is the most positive thing that's happened to you in the last 24 hours?
First of all, I'm here with you. I was earlier, actually in the evening, because of creating this freedom right now, I'm able to pursue something I was always passionate about. And it's music. So I've been taking vocal classes
Oh,
And last night we had a little like kind of our final performance when we could invite our friends and family. So it's so great to be able to have this opportunity just from Zoom calls, take these classes and have the freedom to do what you really love to do as
fantastic.
hobbies. Mhm.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, you have that freedom to be able to do that. Make sure that you share that with the Going Long family. I'm sure you'll share it across social media as well. We want to hear you and see you as a vocalist. So listen, I have to tell you something, Masha. Everyone in the Going Long family already knows this about me. You're just finding out because I tend to set the bar really, really high. And that means sometimes I do things that are almost impossible to do. I'm a recovering perfectionist. These are the things that happen. I try to tell your entire backstory in like 2.5 seconds. That is not possible. You've done way too much. You're impacting way too many people's lives. So I hope you, just like the Going Long family, they forgive me after every single conversation. Hopefully you'll forgive me, but I also need your help. I really would love for you to tell your own backstory in your own words. And I would ask for one favor as well. If you could highlight some of the major decisions that you've made to get to this point in your journey. And then from there, Masha, we'll see where the conversation goes and see where it takes us before we get to the Going Long final 3. So over to you if you're ready.
Perfect. Okay. So I will keep it relatable to obviously, like you said, big decisions that's made. Obviously, number one was coming to the United States. I had a great gut feeling that the place where I'm from wouldn't give me all these amazing opportunities. And that's where, when I was 17, I moved to Chicago, froze myself a little bit over there too. And then that was done with it and moved to Miami. Great decisions. Down along, I was doing event production. This is what actually I really was passionate about. I still love it. I still definitely going to come back and will be throwing some conferences with some cool conferences in the near future. But I was doing event production and I saw that, wow, this older people, they're working still so hard. And just some small percentage of them really make good income, very little percentage. And they're working so hard, people that are in their 70s. I was like, oh my God, do I want to be in that position? And real estate was one of the ways of actually, I'm sure, building wealth. That's what people talk about, building wealth and the passive income. I'm like, all right, let's get into real estate. I became get my real estate license, became an agent. And my broker was doing some little flipping projects. And we also started doing together a bit of short-term rentals. Everything was going well until one day he disappeared. The money invested disappeared. He just dropped on us heavy all this, figure out what to do with this project. And it was an amazing experience that I said, I will never get back to real estate investing. This is a horrible idea. Don't ever touch it. Long story short, I met my domestic partner, get to live a bit back and forth in Haiti, work with him, working in his business. It was an amazing opportunity to really establish the project management and upgrade systems in his family company. It was a great experience. But then I was like, I think still real estate investing, there's something about it. There is something about it that just, I can't get over it. And I decided to go back, get the coaching, doing residential, planning on doing again, flipping, wholesaling, rentals. But then I saw, and being connected actually on LinkedIn, there's commercial world. Wait a minute, commercial world is not only for big pockets, billionaires and millionaires. I can do it. Can I? And I asked my coach and she said, you know what? I don't think you can do it right away. You have to do maybe 2 years of heavy lifting, flipping, wholesale, and then maybe you can switch to commercial real estate. And I was like, okay, should I just trust an expert in residential or go talk to people who does commercial? And I start connecting on LinkedIn, I remember with Yona, and seeing that, it's possible. And that's where I was like, now I'm discovering that there's multifamily, mobile home parks, senior living, and self-storage. And that's when I realized self-storage, remote management, putting systems in place, automation. All right, let's make it happen. And here we go. I made it 100% decision that I'm focusing only on self-storage, different aspects of storage, but specifically storage asset class. And here we are today. Yes, I think being 100% focused on just, especially in the beginning, on just one asset class, staying so focused will get you results. And now we own 2 out-of-state facilities, one in Texas and North Carolina, and I have involved in some projects in Ohio. We're looking right now, putting an offer in Alabama. And I mean, so much happening, and so excited. And thank you for asking this question.
Yeah, sure. So you really, I mean, you help us get a lot of understanding in terms of the things that you've done, right? And I can relate a lot to moving from one country, living to another. I don't envy you at all leaving Chicago. Well, that was kind of a joke. Moving from Chicago to Miami, because yes, it is nice and warm there, which is absolutely fantastic. But one of the things that you said, and I'm sure that when you said it, Masha, it really impacted a lot of people, because one of the experiences that you saw was actually people that were in their 70s that were still working and working long time and long hours. And one of the things that you mentioned is that you didn't want to do that, right? And so I guess seeing those, what was it about seeing the people, and you described them in their 70s plus, that were working, that really made you think, oh my gosh, I don't want to be doing this when I'm 70? Because it seems like, I think that's probably a long way off for you. And so sometimes, most of the time, people would see that at an early age and not even recognize it. What was it about your life experience that made you think, oh, that's a long way away, but I don't want to do that at all?
Of course. Looking at that and seeing how events, for example, events, and there's many other, how it will be so hard to just automate that, right? And just, it's events, it's recreation. So you actually, it's not like, let's say, restaurant business. You always have a restaurant there. The tables are always there. The servers are there. Decorations are there. With events, you have to always put it to, like, from the just empty space, create something extremely beautiful. And it was super creative work, but it's very stressful. And it just was no opportunity to automate it. You have to always put hours. And of course, you can create team, and then just, it's possible. It's possible. But again, seeing average, I was a part of association. So part of successful people in the industry, it's not just like successful people, and seeing that most of them working still so hard, I knew that there is a other way for us to be able to enjoy life. And of course, and like I was saying, I still enjoy it. I still will put some events together, but I'm going to have assets. They're going to be bringing me income, building my wealth, helping me with tax advantages, and just all other, being able to pass it on and help other passive investors, help other investors to get involved, whether they want an active or hybrid model. Like I do hybrid, I do both passive and active. So it's still, you can do still what you love, but I don't want to be fighting for, like, I mean, not fighting, but struggling for doing events just because I need to make income. I want to do it as I already have income, and then I can do additional something that I love.
Yeah, you know, and it's a really great point that you mentioned. So as you were in this industry, and like I said, I worked in the events industry for 5 years, and then the latter part of my career, I worked the last 9 years in the hospitality, specifically in hotels. And it's a very glamorous life because people see you traveling and you're going all over the place. But I've also, in the early part of my career, I used to stand in the middle of the hallway and point people to where they needed to go for the restroom, or be at the airport, or you're at these places, but you're always up on your feet, and it can be really pretty demanding. And so to have that foresight, knowing that you enjoyed that industry, but also didn't want to see yourself many years down the line, really impacted the way that you made a decision in terms of where you wanted to go. So you also talked about real estate, and you had that, and you knew that you wanted to go to real estate. I think there's a lot of different choices that people can make. I believe that there are lots of different vehicles. I love that you're doubling down and that you're going very deep in the self-storage. And I know the entire Going Long family wants to find out more about that. But you're also doing something that is very different, because most of the time, and I'm sure that you saw this as well, Masha, when you were getting started, everyone talked about being your landlord, be in the same place where you live. Maybe you even saw that with the person that you were working with. I happen to believe that there is another way to do that, right? I've been living in Europe. I've been actively and passively investing in lots of different types of assets. And I know that it's not You don't have to do it that way. You're here on the Going Long podcast, right? You have an entire group of people that are here listening. Maybe some people are listening for the first time and they're feeling a little bit of nerves about investing beyond their backyard. Can you share with us what it took for you, or what was it that allowed you just emotionally to invest in a place where you didn't actually live, whether that's actively or passively?
So first of all, I'm seeing that most people want to have that full control, and they want to be able to see and control everything. So that's what prevents them to really look other way around. And for me I know right now we have technology, and this is just really the answer. Technology can allow you to do everything what's possible. I have right now 4 virtual assistants. They are far away from me. They're in Philippines. And so people, no, I need someone sitting next to me and working with me. I'm like, yeah, you're going to sit next to each other on a computer, watching on a computer. What's the difference? I want to be able to control what if they're doing something else. There's so many ways to overcome it. First of all, there's a way you can just really look at the screen can be recorded and you can watch what exactly they're doing. I think it's a bit maybe too far sometimes. But if they're getting the job done, why you care exactly how they're doing? If the job done successfully, it's what's most important. So this is obviously overcoming working with employees. Then it's technology. I implemented everything. We have obviously cameras, we have automated gate, we have software. There's two softwares that we're using. So you all be able to kind of cross-reference all those items and see like, okay, if we call them facility caretaker or boots on the ground, enter the facility, the gate will tell us that. We have cameras that we can verify. He also actually uses his phone. He takes a picture with a timestamp where it says what time he entered and what time he left. And then he goes and he is in software recording what he's doing there. So it's, why do I need to? I never had a need to be there. We have systems and technology in place and people in place that can all get it done. I went to see all my facilities, but I didn't even have to. I could have invested in both of them without ever seeing them. 100%. I just more like, I want to go see it. I want to go see it. You know, I was more like excited to see them than really having a need seeing them.
Yeah. And Masha,
So
when you say see them, do you mean physically see them, or do you mean just allowing technology to allow you to see them?
So now that's what I'm saying, that
exactly.
I went to see those properties. I was just, in a way, eager. This is my properties. It was a want. It wasn't a need.
Gotcha.
A need, you have FaceTime nowadays. I'm not some people maybe want to go inspect everything. I'm not an inspector. I hire an inspector to inspect everything, to verify you. You have people who can get it done using technology to report to you. And this can be even done much better, much more efficient than when you try. I'm not going to go check like what's properly, is the roof good or not? I don't want to judge it. I'm not an expert in that. But if you're a roofer and maybe you will need to go and check that. But it's all overcame. And like you said, Billy, I was like looking at Miami. It took me like I don't know how long time. I was like, Miami is not an option. Then I was like, okay, let's go north. Okay, we're going like middle Florida, Orlando. Oh my God. It's pretty saturated. A lot of saturated, but also a lot of people, so much competition. Okay, let's go north. If I'm going already like 5 hours away, I can go 15 hours away, 20 hours away. So I'm saying I can invest in Washington state without a problem, which is the furthest state from Florida. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So, the fact that you break that down into elements that are critical, especially nowadays, right? Number one is the level of control people feel that they need to have. And the second is really technology, which is a liberator, which will allow you to do, you can, like, to your point, you can have people walking around properties that are they're on FaceTime or they're on WhatsApp or whatever the case may be, and that's free. So, yes. So I appreciate you sharing what allowed you to, because a lot of times, Masha, and you know this, we have these own limiting beliefs. And until we hear somebody else that's done it, every single story helps us to realize that, well, there are people that need 100% control. Like, I like control, but once I started realizing how you can multiply and get to your freedom by not having to control every single aspect, but only the most important aspects to allow you to sleep well at night, then things start to move forward. So I want to move forward a little bit because also too, you're very, very, very passionate about self-storage, right? And a lot of people so maybe someone's listening for the first time. What is it about the fact that you went into the real estate and you tested things and you did flipping and you did the residential, and then when you got into the commercial space, you were like, oh my gosh, this self-storage is amazing. Talk to us about why is it self-storage for you? Why are you deciding to really go deep in self-storage and build that expertise?
I mean, first of all, it's because it was commercial space. Commercial is scalable. So it's so much easier to scale. Buying one by one single family is great, but you can buy right away like many units. With self-storage, it's similar in some manner. If someone knows about multifamily, there's a lot of similarities with self-storage. It's also units, just people don't live there, they store items there. So the big difference that we don't have toilets, we don't have termites, and we don't have the what is the third T? Termination. No,
termites, trash cans, toilets,
trash. Thank you. Yes, exactly.
No problem.
And so there's no plumbing. There's no unless obviously you can have one bathroom if you have. But in general, it just simplified, straightforward business. It's not just asset class. It's a business. You have a high turnover. We have a call center that's again. I don't have a manager that's going to be handling and picking up. We have a professional call center who does this job amazingly. So it's again, all those you can put. I realized that I can have many self-storages and don't overwhelm myself with problems. There's what can happen, let's say a fire. When a person doesn't live there, the things can, in worst case scenarios can get cut off, but it's not people not living. We don't have to do evictions. We're doing auctions. In 1 month, people are not paying, depending on the state. 1 month they don't pay, we start in the auction process. And then we kick them out if they don't pay in time. Because, we're going to give this space to someone who can afford this. And you have time to get your money together and pay for it and get out. It's automated again. The system will lock you down if you don't pay. So you can't come and just take your stuff and leave. No, again, automation. So, and again, it's also, I love it. I start connecting with people, of course, it's all about people connecting with the industry and I realize, how great people, in general, commercial space, everybody is so supportive. Everybody is so helpful. And you and me, Billy, we know each other through Yona. The community is amazing people. Everybody's, instead of seeing each other as competitors, we see each other as collaborators. You never know what we can do together. So I saw that opportunity with others, what we can do. Even though I'm self-storage, I would say well-connected, and I love networking with everybody in commercial space a lot. And so I just, again, choosing the one, I saw the shiny object syndrome of mobile home parks, or senior living, even the hotels, people. This is all exciting. Short-term rentals, I think it's still actually a great business. Great real estate investing business. But sticking with one, and then you never know, later on, I'm probably going to more look at the other assets. But yeah.
Yeah. So, and I appreciate you breaking that down and being able to help us understand, like at the end of the day, you found certain aspects of self-storage that you enjoy. Commercial, it's scalable. It is a true business. You have more of the space management versus the human element of the management that you have to be involved in. And it's something that you decided that you wanted to go deeper on. And I know you're really into helping people find their freedom. And at a certain point, you may decide to do something else. But once you've developed a very deep expertise.
And I also want to also add, I forgot, of course, one of the most important things about self-storage, it's recession resilient. During COVID, self-storage even boomed more. So it's just was doing so well. It's doing so well right now. So they say virus resistant. So it's in a way less a bit, I won't say less riskier, so it's less riskier. There's less things can go wrong. There's less error can happen because again, humans not as much don't live there. And again, it's essential business. So during COVID, self-storage wasn't closed down. It was fully open for the public.
Yeah. And, at the end of the day, because of what you're doing and the approach that you're taking is to develop deep expertise, the more education, the more network that you have is one of the most effective ways to mitigate any type of risk. Right. And so
Exactly.
the fact that you are going deeper, it's another value add that you have. Just speaking of which, because I know we even talked about freedom in the very beginning. And I know this is something that you are very, very passionate about. And as it relates to like really being able to set yourself free. I know you have a big thing around the freedom formula. Maybe you could talk to us a little bit about what that freedom formula is and how that can affect someone who's listening to us today.
Yes, thank you. And actually, freedom formula can be applied to any type of business. Investing strategies, but for me, it's perfect for the self-storage, but it's applicable to everything. And it's just, I love self-storage, but let me be honest with you, and sorry, self-storage for saying that, but I love freedom more,
Yep.
And I know, I'm sure all of us, whoever is investing, we love our whatever we're doing, but why are we doing that? We're doing it to achieve the freedom.
Yep.
And some people say it's financial freedom, some people say it's time freedom. I feel like it's a overall freedom, a location freedom, right? It's having freedom of choice, purpose freedom, relationship freedom. So it's really being able have a freedom to choose to live where we want, to do what we want, how we want, with whoever we want, whenever, whatever we want to.
Yep.
So, and I call this, the freedom formula is CEDAR, which is S stands, and you heard me already saying earlier, systemizations, putting systems in place. After that, it's SE is for elimination. Eliminating, making sure that we don't do not the most important tasks or project at the moment. So eliminating. After SE, it's D. A for automation. You heard me saying technology so many times.
Yep.
Take advantage. They're not as expensive because honestly, eliminate something is the cheapest way. Then you have to pay for software, which is still not so expensive, could be. But the next step is delegation, which is going to cost you more. Hiring someone, like I have right now, virtual assistants, and they're all specializing in whatever their specific area. That's why I have 4. And it's delegating, it costs more. And the last one is the most expensive part is E, empowerment. It's, for example, getting a CPA or lawyer, because you already empower someone with high-level decisions. You trust your lawyer that he's going to make high-level decisions for you. Or it's partnering. That's when partnership. And one of the reasons why I also started doing commercial real estate, it's partnerships. You don't have to be the best at everything, and you don't need to know everything and how to get everything done. It's probably jack of all trades. It's usually not the most successful person. You know what you're best at and what you love to do, then empower others, get them in your team and let them do. Maybe it's the underwriting, like spreadsheets, you're not really the best at. Find a partner who is the best at. Or maybe you're not the opposite. You like more shy person. You prefer to do work on computer, but you have to have this person that's relationship person that's going to go out there and make those relationships. So, and then the last part of CEDAR, the freedom formula is R, repeat. So all of that is constantly looking at your system, seeing what you can eliminate, what you can automate, delegate, and empower.
Fantastic. Well, I appreciate that. And yes, to your point, I mean, you can really apply this to many different aspects of your life and your business to optimize what you're doing. There's 2 things that I have to ask you. Like, I just cannot ask you, because I think one of the things we have not talked about yet, but is just absolutely critical, is determination. And when sometimes people say, well, I tried this once and it didn't work. And I tried it twice and it didn't work.
Oh, yes.
I think you have a very unique experience of something not working somewhere in the area of 133 times, and you still kept going after it. Can you talk to us a little bit about what that is all about?
Yes, getting a loan for first storage was a little bit challenging. Had to accept 132 no's from banks.
Okay, 132. Sorry, 132.
No worries. And the funny part, when I was taking this residential real estate investing course, coaching, there was a speaker. She said, I don't remember exactly the number, but she said she got denied 80 something times, and that's also me remembering that. I was like, oh my God. Now, when I was going to 132, I was like, wow. When I passed 80, I was like, I'm passing her already. Okay, guess I'm doing something right. I hope. And it's just keep going. And for me, it was that big why. Big why. I would have stopped already. It was insane. It was so challenging, and I'm ready to give up. But it was already beyond me, like building the wealth. It was already like I kind of already was not caring about passive income, getting a storage is impossible. I was ready to go hide in a corner, cry, and give up. But I have a big why. That's big reason, something bigger than me, and it's finding and creating a loving and caring home for 1 million of dogs through foster program. So looking at my dog, I was like, for all you beautiful creatures, I'm not gonna stop. Because if I'm gonna stop right now, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna stop further. I knew that this is something bigger, and for other people, it could be it's something that should be beyond you. Maybe it's for your family, creating generational wealth. But I knew I want to make a huge difference in this world, and I knew that me having not only income, having wealth, it's having that my brand, my image, my exposure, so I can influence others to also do better for this world, make a difference. Maybe for others, it's other causes, environmental, human trafficking, whatever other causes could be for you. For me, it's dogs. And this is when I was really, truly didn't care already about myself, but I knew there's millions of these cute, beautiful creatures. They're waiting for Masha to make a difference for them. So, and this is when I always remember something challenging. I'm like, I'm not stopping.
Yep. This is when being able to go and hold on to your why is such an important thing. And because it's not if it's going to happen, it's when it happens. And if it happens 132 times, well, the 133rd is when you get the answer that you were looking for, and you continue to go forward, and that holding on to that why gets you through. Just really, really quickly, I do have one question for you as well, because I know that you are, as you're looking in new places, you also are interested in looking outside of the borders of the United States. Maybe you can just tell us, you don't have to go into a lot of detail, but just kind of why are you even thinking now to go even be like, this is really exciting for me because you're going maybe to a different country and stuff like that. Talk to us a little bit about what's driving the motivation to look in other countries.
I'm first of all, is they say diversify. So I'd love to diversify in different countries. I think it's a great opportunity to diversify, and having those other places in the world where you can call your other, I don't know, not a kind of home. And obviously me coming from lived in different countries throughout my life. So also have probably opened different mindset for that. Yeah. But it's really looking obviously in the markets where I know some network of people. I know some people, some relationships. It's not just going random to some place. Yep. Mm-hmm. And looking what's opportunity. One of the places, number one, I would say, is Dominican Republic. Mm-hmm. And Dominican Republic is one of the top growing countries right now in the world. What does it mean? It means obviously the real estate's been going up and up and up. And it's just knowing also in depth of the economy, because I've actually lived in Haiti. So it's the same island, but it's like a hell of paradise in a way of the political and economical state. It's both beautiful places, but they've been investing. I mean, the country, the government been doing everything to increase their hospitality. They've been doing everything that's hospitality, brought so much money into the country. So they've been building and into schools, public transportation. When you come there, when I came there, it's come in little Miami. I'm like in little Miami. There's so much, like, people are educated. The infrastructure is beautiful, and there's so much just opportunity there. So I'm like, why not? Why not? And I'm just looking at self-storage is not booming there yet. And there's an opportunity to maybe establish yourself as a go-to person for self-storage in the Dominican Republic. There's already a few, but there's still opportunity to become that leader in that market. And why not? Again, I know some people there. The country is the projection for the country is amazing. And I'd love to have that other place to go to, you know it. I have a business, a real estate, and potentially, of course, a home in Dominican Republic.
Yeah,
Why not?
So it could be another. It could be another wonderful place to go. But I think the important thing of what you're saying is, one, you have the relationships. Two, it's replicating the existing model that you have. So looking at self-storage in another geography, not just starting from zero, but using the same model and being able to adapt it to a different geography. So appreciate that. And you know what? I can't believe it, Masha, but we've got to get to the Going Long Final Three. But the thing is, I never ask anybody. Yeah, I know, but I never ask anybody the Going Long Final Three. And since today you're our special guest, I can only ask you if you tell me you're ready. So are you ready?
I'm always ready.
I knew you were going to say that. How did I know you were going to say that? So here we go. So we started with you over in lovely Miami. And so now I kind of want to bring you back to this side of the pond, because this is now my adopted side of the pond over here in Europe. And I would love for you to share with us, what is your favorite European city that you've either visited or is still on your bucket list to visit, Masha?
For sure. I've actually traveled on a cruise ship when I was little, and I went to 10, 12 different countries, but visiting only one time, like for 1 or 2 days. So I didn't get time to really explore. So I want to go to all of them and really get to deeply to explore. But I would say definitely number one, I would say definitely will be Spain for sure. I get to be there for like 1-2 days. When I was a teenager, it's not enough. It's not enough. So I'm going to see you.
Yeah, Spain, I would definitely recommend. Well, I can't recommend anything because it's not I'm not allowed to recommend anything because that would be like biased and stuff. So do you like Madrid, Bilbao, Barcelona?
I'm in Barcelona. Yeah.
Barcelona. Okay. Well, another vote for Barcelona. That's phenomenal. Okay. So listen, question number 2. And this is one of the things that I've noticed with a lot of really, really successful people. And I've considered myself to be very fortunate. I speak to a lot of successful people. I consider you to be someone who's also very successful, Masha. And a lot of the things that you're doing, the lives that you're impacting, and hopefully you agree with me, right? Because one of the things that I've recognized with really successful people is that they, unlike most people, when they want to do something, they devise a plan and they get it right the first time. And then with that first time, then they continue to... Did I just say that? I think I got it wrong. Don't worry, Masha. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. It's an inside joke with me and the Going Long family. No, nobody gets things perfectly, not even really, really successful people. The reality is, Masha, successful people like yourself probably make a lot more mistakes than most people. And the reality is, probably really successful people make 20 to 50 times more mistakes, but they do one thing very, very differently. And this is no joke. Every time that I've seen someone who's very successful or they've talked to me, they shared experience, every single time that they make a relevant mistake or call it a learning opportunity, call it whatever you want, every time that happens, when it happens, they then stop, they learn from that different opportunity or that mistake, and then they put different strategies, tactics, and actions in place to minimize the probability of that exact same thing happening again. So I don't want you to think about the mistake, but I want you to think about the one lesson that you know the Going Long family needs to hear today so that they can minimize the probability of that exact same mistake happening. What would that one lesson be?
The quote that I so much love, well, recently I actually posted it, was success is going through failure to failure with enthusiasm.
Love it.
I actually start so weirdly that I start loving failure and loving challenges, because first of all, being out of your comfort zone too. I mean, I think they kind of relate out of comfort zone. It means the time you're growing. So when I'm like, remember, I'm challenged with something, I'm like, and I want to get like down and like the words got becoming so negative and like the dark and everything. And then you're like, wait, this is now I'm going through this because I'm taking myself to the next level.
Yeah.
So the same with failure. Just you fall, stand up. You know, you didn't die, then you're good.
There you go.
So,
there you go.
You didn't die. You're good. You're
Keep
good
moving
to
forward.
go. It's actually this so much. I mean, it's success. Success is just maybe, like you said, you first 20 times fail and then you succeed. And it's just a part of the process. Whatever you see on social media, people succeeding, you don't see most of it. It's like you only see tip of the iceberg. Everything else, it's hidden. So I just start appreciating failures. And actually, every time, even my number one with real estate investing, where first I thought I was ashamed about it, what my broker did, that he took, ran away, stole money. And there was a lot of, I would say, things I could have avoided from this happening. But I was actually at the end, I'm so, so grateful that he did it because, first of all, I get to know about real estate investing. Second, I knew how much I have to be watching out who I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
And knowing that if you want to partner with someone, know them from communities. Don't just go, you just met this person online or somewhere and you start doing business with them. No, get referrals, go through, like, get connected. So this was amazing learning. And now, and the funny part, after 5 years, just about a month ago, guess what? We got the money back.
There you go.
And it was just I didn't even expect it. I already thought that what I lost, it was the best that he introduced me to real estate investing. And I learned it hard. And now I'm so careful and I'm making the right relationships instead of just partnering with someone who gives opportunity.
Fantastic. So going from failure to failure with enthusiasm, recognizing that this is all part of the process. And that is something that I want in the entire Going Long family to learn from what Masha has just shared. And this brings us to the last question, Masha, which is actually just helping us fill our brains with knowledge. What's one book or the one book that you would recommend to the Going Long family today?
So I want to say that it was one book for a long time for me favorite. Since I started investing, and recently that it's changed. Number one was The One Thing. Because that the one thing got me focused, choose that one asset class and being highly determined and on that one thing. But now it has shifted, and the book that from the half of the chapter, I already knew it's my number one book. Who, not how.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just what I was earlier talking about, delegation and empowerment. It's all I'm reading this book. I'm like, oh my God, this is this is already a book about it. So guys, don't try to figure out how to solve problems. Go to who. Maybe who can do it for you or who can help you get it done.
Yep. Love that. Love that. Love that. So who, not how. This is one of those books that is just super impactful, Mr. Sullivan. And wow, I keep
you read it? You read it?
Yes. And that one of the first questions I always ask, because I'm a recovering perfectionist. And so I always want to try to do
I'm
things.
recovering perfectionist myself.
Yeah. And it's one of these things where I'm like, okay, well, hang on a second. No, I'm not going to try to do this. I'm just going to figure out who can do it. They usually do it better, faster, and in a way that makes more sense. So then they translate it. So yes, who, not how, which is lovely. And I can't believe it, Masha. Like, this conversation has flown by. We started with you like at 17, going from Chicago to Miami. And then you were in Miami and you were getting the hospitality industry, and you recognized that, hang on a second, these people are doing these things at 70 plus years old, and you didn't project and see yourself doing that. And you decided you had to do something different. So although you were working with someone that ended up doing things that they shouldn't have been doing with the money, it gave you the opportunity to come into contact with the single family residences, the short-term residents, the flipping, the sales part. And so you understood that this was an area that you enjoyed. And then once you decided to get into real estate, get involved, agency, these types of things, you then decided commercial real estate was the place to be. And so then you didn't want to go wide and on every single thing. You decided you wanted to really, really niche down. You wanted to go deep. Self-storage has been your thing. You've gotten to expertise in that area. You've gone to different states like North Carolina and Texas. You're now looking at other countries like the Dominican Republic and probably other places. And you've got this whole thing around systems and your freedom formula together. And I know that there are people in the Going Long family that are like, oh my gosh, Billy, just ask her the question. Help us understand, what is the best way for the Going Long family to get in touch with you, find out more about what you're doing, and be able to connect with you?
Definitely. You can go to my website, mklap.com, mklap.com. And over there, we can definitely connect you. Just tell me what you are more interested. You want to be involved actively, you want to involve passively, or you think there's some opportunity, you have some land. I don't know, maybe you're somewhere like overseas and you have some land and you may say, oh, maybe we can build a storage there. I'm looking right now at someone that I know very well in Sweden. So we're going to have a call. I don't know where it's going. I'm just saying that we're going to have a conversation about self-storage in Sweden. So anybody who wants to connect, go to my website, mklap.com. And also you can always find me on social media, mainly LinkedIn or Instagram. I'm not very active on Facebook, and I'll be happy to connect with you there.
All right. Fantastic. So mclap.com. Go check her out. You can get in touch. Also LinkedIn family. Going Long family. When you connect with Masha on LinkedIn, just do us a favor. Make sure that you give her a personalized invitation. That way you can save a lot of time and she knows that you've already listened to the conversation here on the Going Long podcast and it just makes things better for the two of you. So
100%.
As you do that, I want to just thank you very much, Masha, for deciding to invest your time with me, with the entire Going Long family. And just thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
I loved it. I so much enjoyed it. I could have kept going,
All right. Listen, just really quickly, give me 10 seconds. I just want to say a couple things to the Going Long family and then we're out of here. So listen, Masha gave you so many different actionable items. Take today's conversation, share it with your family, share it with your friends, and most importantly, talk about the things that you've heard today. That way you continue to build up your education, you continue to build more of the theory, take it to the practice, and it's going to make you an overall better investor and much wiser. So while you're doing that, I'm going to be preparing for the next conversation. And so I will be waiting for you here on the very next conversation. So until then, go out and make it a great day. And thank you very much.